Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're in the garden, going to start getting things well underway. Today we're going to be talking about irrigation and what I plan on using with this. So last year when it was just the single bed, I used what I had on hand, not having to bother to go buy anything. I did pick up a soaker hose and that worked okay, but I used these trusty micro sprinkler sprays, and I actually really like these a lot. These are these Elgo micro sprinkler sprays. That's what they're called. They come in a little pack. They take a standard garden, well, a half-inch garden hose, and you actually have to use the cheap stuff because the little couplers don't fit right. These worked great. I used these on my front yard renovation 3 years ago when I switched it to Bermuda, and then when I did the backyard back here 2 years ago, we're in year 3 this year, I used these as well. I actually bought another set and had 2 separate zones of these guys running. The range isn't huge, it's only like maybe a maximum 12-foot diameter on a 360 arc. But they get the job done and they work really, really well. I may implement these in certain areas like the lettuce, but right now I'm actually going to be focusing on drip irrigation. So let's toss these guys away. So back in February, I ordered a drip irrigation kit, off Amazon like everyone does. There's so many to choose from. Kits by name brands like Rainbird or Hunter or all these other big fancy kits that are, moderately to very expensively priced. I could have built one from the ground up with tubing and connectors and all that. I didn't feel like doing that. No, I took the cheap way out, and I've learned, I should have known better and not doing this. The reviews were actually pretty positive. We can go to the listing right now and it shows that it's currently unavailable because these Chinese drip, they change so frequently. If you buy one now, there's a good chance it won't be available in 2 weeks. But it came with a bunch of these guys here. I also came with some misting nozzles that we'll see here in a second. They don't really do anything. I picked this up, it was like 25 bucks. It sucks. It sucks bad. It didn't come with any timers, didn't come with any backflow preventers, any pressure reducing valves. It just came with like 100 foot of black poly tubing, a bag of these, a bag of misters, some T connectors, special T connectors for the misters, and little support stakes. It sucks. I have to do something different, so this is what I'm doing. So I picked up a simple kit, or we'll see how simple it is because we're gonna put it in. But I got this guy here. Just an all-in-one vegetable garden kit. The only thing extra I picked up was another hose fitting to poly connection because this kit only comes with one, and so I picked that up, so that was a couple extra bucks. But this guy here comes with a backflow valve. It's plastic. I don't anticipate it lasting very long at all. Also comes with a 25 psi regulator, a mesh filter system for it to keep things clean, bunch of plugs, fittings, all that fun stuff. On-off valves for different zones. Only looks like it came with 5 of those, so may have to order some more of those or just not worry about shutting individual zones off. Support stakes. It comes with a little punch tool to make the holes in the main poly roll, 50 feet of half-inch poly tubing, 30 feet of quarter-inch black vinyl tubing, then 100 feet of quarter-inch inline drip tubing. It's the brown roll, and it already has the drip holes pre-plugged, so I don't have to worry about emitters, because as you saw a minute ago, those emitters sucked. Okay, so opening up this kit now, we have, well, first the extra little adapter I bought. Here's our drip line hose. Not sure if you can see has little holes already in it. The vinyl feed line that goes from the supply line to this guy. Pack of goodies, and then of course our main supply line. Cool. Okay, first up is I do have a 2-zone timer that I will be using. However, I have no clue where it is right now. I think it's somewhere in the disaster zone of a garage that I have, so that'll wait. But right now we're just going to set this up as kind of like a single zone setup. I have the backflow preventer. Plastic, I don't anticipate it lasting long, but it'll get things by. So we're gonna, first we're gonna connect this guy up here. Next up we have our filter. This end comes off and there's a whole mesh filter inside. You probably can't see it, but it's getting put on right here in such a way where, you know, thankfully we're at an angle so everything will drain out. I'm not going to tighten it up all the way just yet because there's some more components we have to put on. Now we have the pressure regulator. We're going to put this guy on. I'm going to actually run a garden hose up the hill. At that point it'll go to this and it'll switch to 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to have the supply lines running downhill, so I'll have gravity to assist with things, and then it'll also kind of self-drain, so it's a win-win situation for everything, and I don't have to worry about pumping water up the hill with a smaller diameter tube, because it'll probably work just fine. I'm not moving large volumes of water. These are like 1/2 gallon per hour emitters, or that's what each port's rated for on the brown hose, but I need to use everything to my advantage, so while it's going uphill there are no breaks in the line, or at least hopefully no breaks in the line, because who knows, I'm prone to causing things to leak. So what I'm wanting to water with this initial zone, which would be those 2 beds up on the very top, and then these 2 beds here on the left hand side. Up in the top left bed I have bush variety beans. That center bed in the back I have cucumbers that we will build a trellis for. This second row bed is going to be squash and zucchini. I already have some squash and zucchini in there, and I have more seedlings ready to go in the event that these die, which one already did due to lack of water. Then down here I'm going to have my tomatoes, as well as basil and oregano kind of mixed in, and then of course marigolds kind of will be scattered throughout everything. So this is what we're going to refer to as zone number 1. I went ahead and I actually moved the hose, since I had some excess there, and I moved it in the middle of the upper tiers, beds 1 and 2. Okay, so I have the black tube. It's been sitting in the sun for a little bit now, so it should be good and pliable. We're going to connect it up there and then figure out how to route it down to get where we need it to go. Then we can tap into that with the punch tool, add the black vinyl tubing, and then ultimately add the brown drip tubing where it needs to go to finish this zone off. Okay, I got my 2 ends up here, so now it looks like we just push this in, and twist and thread it down. And it just kind of threads itself into the poly pipe. We're going to route this tube actually up and behind this bed. Then it'll come down along here, and we'll cut it there, and then I'll have more than enough to finish these other 3 beds on that far end. Okay, so it looks pretty good. Let's get this cut here. Okay, so I'm just going to cut it. Yeah, here looks good. Now I'm just using a dull, rusty razor blade. There we go. And I'm going to put this on here. This is it essentially just kinks this tube to shut it off. It only came with 1. Didn't really think about how these were going to be plugged, so I will have to get a second one of those. Now we need to flush this guy out. And we will kink it. Look at that, super easy peasy. Okay, we have now the 1/2 inch main poly line ran. We need to now decide where we're going to tap into this with the 1/4 inch black vinyl tubing, which will then connect to the brown poly tubing with the built-in drip emitters. So what I'm thinking, and I've been looking at it, is the cucumber bed, the upper middle, we're going to go ahead, we're going to tap in one pretty much right there off the get-go, run some black vinyl over to that, then convert it over to the brown. Where it starts to curve to come down the hill, we'll tap in there for the bush beans. I'll do one tap and we'll just loop the brown tubing around to encompass both rows. We will then tap in again at the top of the middle bed, and I will run again one tube, will come out, and we will do a loop. And we'll pretty much do the same thing here for the bottom with the tomatoes, except I will actually run it down behind one row, up the middle, and then back again. I'll have 2 rows there, and there will be other things in there, but tomatoes like a lot of water, and that'll help give them a little bit more with that. Hopefully it should work. We're gonna find out. We'll test it out here in the end, but let's get to working on this. It shouldn't take too terribly long, so let's get at it. Okay, here we go. We have our punch tool. I have never used one of these before, but we're gonna tie in. We're gonna do it right about here, and it looks like woo! Should have drained the line a little bit more. We can do that. Ooh. Well, now I look like I pissed myself, but that's okay. With the water properly drained now, let's go ahead and pop this initial guy in there. Look at that, nice snug fit. Now I only need a little bit. We're actually going to move this guy over this way some though. And I figure right here will be good. This main feed is done. Going to do the same now for the remainder of the 1, 2, 3 more we have to do, so it shouldn't take too terribly long. Okay, now with the black vinyl line ran, the directions call for, they have shutoff valves. The kit only came with 5. Here I would use 4 of them if I wanted to have dedicated shutoff valves. I'm going to go ahead and put them on everything, just in the event certain areas are getting too much water. I can kind of dial things back a little bit. I don't think that'll be a problem, and if I need more, I can always get more. They had a whole assortment of these at the store where I got them. So let me grab those. We're going to get those put on real quick, and then we will be back with the brown tubing. Now there are flow direction arrows on this. Not sure if you can see it, but they're there. Okay, it's up and running. Everything's looking really good. I didn't show the brown tube install. It's exactly the same as the others. It's actually kind of a pain in the butt. Not difficult, it's just a pain in the butt. So I didn't bother showing that because it would have taken 10 times longer, and I got 5,000 other things I have to do tonight. But things are, they're all dripping. They're all actually working. Got a couple little squirters, but hey, that's okay. Everything's coming out and it's looking good. So I'm very, very pleased with this. One good thing that did come in handy though with the brown tubing was the stakes from the original kit. I reused all of those because that worked, helped hold things in place, worked really, really well. We'll do zone 2 later because I have nothing really growing over there. I did put some seeds down, but I'm just lightly keeping things misted right now with the hose. Don't want to overwater the seeds. But hey, that's it. Hope y'all like this. More garden stuff coming soon. We're going to build that trellis, do the other bits, and maybe some surprises. So I hope y'all learned something from this. I learned not to buy cheap drip irrigation systems from Amazon. Kind of scares me about the patio misting kit that I ordered last year. That's probably not going to work either. But hey, that's okay. We'll come up with another solution, and it'll probably cost more money because that's what happens when you buy cheap, untested stuff. It ends up costing you more money. So hey, thanks again. It's Mike, Real Low Dad, out in the garden. We will see y'all again soon.